領域展開
Welcome back to another My Hero Academia anime vs manga video breaking down season 7 episode 20 titled A Girl's Ego, sharing the same title as chapter 393. Now the episode begins with the defeat of Toya and Toga seeing Toya's flames go out, asking herself if Toya managed to smile like how he said they should. Toga's sad man's death parade swarms Pixie Bob and the other heroes. In narration, it's revealed that Toga was making doubles of the version of herself that had turned into twice, which explains why she isn't able to become twice the way she wanted to despite being able to use his quirk. They are all just doubles of her disguised as twice. On top of that, Toga's own transform quirk had a time limit based on the amount of blood ingested, but the heroes didn't know how much of Twice's blood she had, though knowing that wouldn't matter, as when she breaks through the dam holding the waves of doubles back, they would completely overwhelm the surrounding area in seconds. The Todoroki family, Ida, and Hawks can hear the rumblings of the Toga doubles off in the distance. And back to Toga, she thinks of Toya and wonders if he died, thus losing someone else she cares about. All of a sudden, she is grabbed by Ochako's wire, and Ochako uses zero gravity spacewalk to close the distance between them. Ochako tells Toga that she has had a change of heart since the last time they talked and is ready to really talk to her, as seeing Toga's tears told Ochako everything she needed to know. She was crying for not being able to become twice because she had bloodlust mixed in her emotions, so Toga wasn't working off of pure love. This pisses Toga off, as she states Ochako doesn't know the first thing about her. Toga's doubles bring out a weakened Froppy, shocking Ochako, and Toga begins to swing her knife at Froppy, claiming that Ochako couldn't understand her because she was born into a perfectly livable life. We then flash back to Toga's past as we see a young Toga being hit by her father. Both of her parents are disgusted with Toga, believing she had gladly killed the sparrow and sucked its blood. Toga cries, claiming that the bird fell into the yard, and Toga is then sent to court counseling so that she can be reformed into a normal girl. Toga overhears a conversation her counselor has with her parents, which does get an added scene in the anime showing their talk, where it's stated that Toga's deviant behavior is common in children with powerful quirks, with it happening all the time in modern society, and that they will be sure to iron out all of her issues. Toga, walking, comes across a park and sees all types of people enjoying their lives, loving who they want and being who they are. Yet she has to put on a mask to fit in and can only stare and bite her finger till she bleeds. After the incident at school, her parents confront her about drinking her friend's blood. She says that her friend got hurt, so she was just sucking the wound. They tell her that isn't normal, and Toga, crying, says that she doesn't get it at all, wondering if everyone else just fights the urge to be the way they want to be, asking her parents, why does nobody else suck blood like her? Shivering with frustration, her father states that Toga had came out wrong, that she was rotten to the core, with her mother stating that they gave birth to something inhuman. In reference to Toga's battle with Curious back in the My Villain Academia arc, Toga envisions and hears Curious telling her that she pushed her feelings and emotions all down, suppressing herself, creating a mask to become someone entirely different in order to fit in. Now, Toga's past, especially when it's revealed by Toga later on in the episode that she is bisexual, it's written to represent and be a metaphor of a gay teen trying to be themselves and society, especially their parents, not accepting who they are. Her parents hate the way she turns out because it goes against everything they believe in, and the most messed up part about it is the quirk counseling she gets in order to fix her is an obvious metaphor for gay conversion therapy, a messed up practice that attempts to change how a person chooses to love in order to fit what is considered to be normal by society's standards. It's why Toga remembers Curious, because for a while, Toga, after receiving quirk counseling and being scolded by her parents, created this mask, becoming the person her parents wanted her to be, but after after constantly seeing everyone living the way they wanted to and fighting the urge to be herself, that mask eventually broke and she was able to be herself. But because being who she wasn't what everyone had accepted to be normal, she was ostracized by her family and society, thus being labeled a villain. Unfortunately, this is something that I feel a lot of people can relate to. And narratively speaking, Toga's backstory all ties back to hero society being the problem in the story, and the cause for creating villains like Toga, Spinner, Dabi, and Shigaraki, all villains who were failed by the current system, with Toga having personally gone through the system that rejected her because her quirk heavily influenced her personality due to its nature of needing blood to transform into others. Instead of receiving a helping hand for being different, she was swept under the rug and received the label of villain for it. Continuing on, Toga is yanked towards Ochako, saving Froppy, and Jiro attempts to save a falling Froppy, but it turns out that Kamui Woods had already caught her, and the Froppy falling happens to be a Toga double that Kamui Woods destroys, revealing that Toga is now creating doubles of Jiro and Froppy by ingesting the blood that's been flying around during the chaos. Jiro comes to the conclusion that the heroes have no way of stopping Toga as a wave of doubles engulfs the heroes. Froppy yells out to Toga for her to try and listen to what Ochako has to say, as she is making the effort to have an honest conversation this time around. We then see that Toga has stabbed Ochako in the gut, as she tells Ochako that they are built differently and doesn't want to feel pity from Ochako. Toga then remembers a conversation she once had taking place before the My Villain Academia arc with Twice and the League about her having a villain name. Twice and Spinner come up with villain names that she could go by, one of the names being Licky Tongue, which is of course a reference to the Pokemon Licky Tongue, which this name is actually only in the manga, while the anime goes for the most famous Pokemon known worldwide, that being Pikachu, as her villain name. The other name that was suggested, Vampiress Carmilla, is not only a reference to Toga's vampiric look and nature of her quirk, but also the 1872 gothic novella called Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. The story itself is narrated by a young woman preyed upon by a female vampire named Carmilla, who was pretty much a lesbian vampire, something that is akin to Toga. Toga of course doesn't like the suggestions, and Dabi ironically says it's stupid, as villain and hero names were holdovers from before the quirk registration system. Shigaraki chimes in stating that there used to be no difference between heroes and villains. He then begins going over a theory about how hero and villain names originated. Back then, it started when someone would have an anonymous enemy and needed to call them something. From there, some decided to adopt those very nicknames to hide their identities, assuming another identity was a matter of survival. At some point, they went all in with code names ripped straight from comic books. According to the theory, it all started with people announcing themselves by those aliases, and is why the world turned into something straight out of a comic book. Shigaraki personally thinks the names can be cool, but doesn't personally go by one himself. Toga is happy to hear this because she wants to live her life as Himiko Toga and nothing else. Back to the present, Ochako grabs Toga, making her float. Toga says that Ochako is just going to throw her in prison, headed straight for death row, or she will do to her exactly what was done to Twice, kill her. This battle is win or lose. This is a battle of their egos clashing. Toga then uses Dead Man's Legion, creating doubles of all of the heroes. The anime here adding in shots of the heroes in the distance, watching as the doubles grow closer to them, one of which includes the Todoroki family and Endeavor sitting up holding Toya as the entire family helplessly watches the doubles. The news reporter, seeing the waves of doubles, believes Toga and her quirk is what the quirk doomsday theory is leading to, as Toga's emotions are transforming the world. Ochako uses her gunhead martial arts to evade and make Toga's Dead Man's Legion float. Toga tells her that them floating does no damage to them at all, and Ochako responds saying her zero gravity isn't a power meant for hurting people. She then uses her wires to swing through the doubles and states that Toga has intentionally killed people and she can't wipe Toga's slate clean. Yet when she sees her face, it's like Toga had no choice, so she figured there must have been a reason because she looked so sad. They both both were sad. She tells her that when they first met, she didn't understand her and how, given the situation, she was able to give such a genuine smile in the way that she did. Toga thinks of what her parents would say about her smile being creepy and tells Ochako to die. Ochako, despite knowing that this maybe isn't a world where Toga could be herself, younger versions of herself in Toga appears as she thinks of DEKU and says that Toga being able to declare what she loves and do it with her whole face is what makes that smile of hers so perfect, making her jealous, and she doesn't want to pretend that she never saw Toga's amazing smile. Toga cries remembering her parents' words and finally hearing what she has always wanted to hear, being accepted for who she is. Ochako, in her near-death state, undergoes a quirk awakening, boosting the range of her quirk by being able to spread zero gravity onto those she hasn't physically touched, thus making all of the doubles and heroes float in the air. Ochako tells Toga that she can't erase what she's done, but if any part of her feels like talking to her, then she can have a lifetime's worth of her blood, and they can finally have that chat about romance. As we see a young Ochako reach her arm out for Toga to take her blood. The anime here actually doesn't adapt the panel of Ochako thinking there being something weird about her zero gravity when she first undergoes her quirk awakening. Toga tries to create more doubles, but they automatically begin to float in the air. Ochako's body feels cold, but all that matters to her is that she reaches out and touches the sadness within Toga. She shoots her wire, grabbing onto Toga's arm, and she states that she wanted to become a hero because her family was poor and gloomy, and she wanted to make their lives easier and happier. But the older she got, the more she realized there was more to the world than her parents and her home. Then Ochako confesses that she fell in love with Izuku Midoriya, and now she's trying to stop Toga. That's who she is, and that's why she's there right now. Toga, reeling in Ochako, punches her in the face, and Ochako says to tell her what's on her mind, to tell her all of her thoughts and feelings. Toga then prepares to stab Ochako again, but mid-swing, she thinks about everything in her life leading up to this moment, and we then see the monster that society made her out to be, stopping herself from stabbing that child version of Ochako, with the anime adding in Ochako extending her arm out and the Toga monster looking very sad. Toga, crying, finally being her true self, letting out her emotions, says that she falls in love really easily with animals, with villains, with heroes, with boys, with girls, since they all have such amazing blood pumping through them. Ochako listens as Toga continues saying that people would tell her to stop smiling and she would get jealous. Izuku reminded her of a boy she used to like called Saito. Child versions of the pair are shown in the sky as Toga states she couldn't ask Saito for blood because then he would say she wasn't human and not think that she was cute. Just like DEKU and Ochako, everyone told her what was the right way to live. That's why she joined the League of Villains, because with them she could live and love how she wanted. Ochako says that the signs from Toga were always there, but it took her so long to see them. Toga feels that her time using Twice's blood has officially ran out, as Twice and all of the doubles she created leaves her for good. Ochako says she might not be a replacement for the League, but she wants Toga to know how special she thinks her smile is. The episode then ends with Toga asking if she's cute and Ochako telling Toga that she is the cutest in the world. And finally, in the credits, the anime adds in 2 shots of Ochako reaching out to Toga. Now, this episode covered a total of 4 chapters, them being chapters 391, 392, 393, and 394. This episode was amazing. Definitely one of the more emotional episodes, and definitely one of my favorite Ochako episodes as a whole. And you already know, I can't wait for the next episode. Let me know your thoughts on the episode. Did they cook with the changes? Let me know everything in the comment section below. And obviously, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to Detroit smash that like button. And if you're new to the Kiroki channel, then be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on, so that way you don't miss any My Hero Academia videos. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one.